So let's look into Jose Juan. He went to Grimdark Grand Tournament. So I guess -1. So maybe they had 53 players or something. That's a good showing. So let's take a look at his list. We have Ghaz Thraka, Mozrog Scragback, Naban Smasha Squigs, Naban Smasha Squigs, Naban Smasha Squigs, and double War Boss and a Weird Boy. So we have triple Naban Smasha Squig. What you don't see here, guys, which kind of caught me off guard. No Edwapus Kill Chopper. How dare he run this without Edwapus Kill Chopper? Interesting, right? Very bold of him. 2 Gretchen units, a Mega Knob unit, a 3-man. I do like that he has the Mega Knob unit, but would you have rather paid for Edwapus Kill Chopper than a 3rd Mega Knob? That's interesting, right? We have knobs and then a small unit of knobs, a Squiggoth. So I'm not in love with Squiggoths, to be honest, but you can appreciate that they can, they're very durable transport for, a bit of a cheaper end compared to what the durability brings. But they don't have like a great melee profile, in my opinion. But they're a different, transport unit. 1, 2 Squig units. Think about it. Each one of these small Squig units had a knob and then only 1 big brick of Squigs and then a Warbiker unit. So interestingly enough, let's talk about this. A 3-man unit of Squig Boys with a Naman Smash. What do you have there? For what, 170? You have one of the best skirmishing units with decent OC. Like for 170 points, what else is running out there and going toe to toe with the Squig Boy unit? You can throw it on an objective, force enemies to commit into it. It's quite interesting, right? I've run them. I really wasn't in love necessarily because I couldn't punch. I didn't feel like I could punch up. I felt like I could easily punch across, but not punch up. But he still did great with it. I mean, it's there. And then obviously you have the Weird Boy. 1 Weird Boy, 1 truck, right? The single Weird Boy for playing the mission. 1 truck, and then like I said, the Squiggoth as your other transport. Now, how do I feel about Maz and Ghaz on the same list? I actually love that. I've appreciated when I've run it. It's a lot of threat saturation. Ghaz can Kool-Aid Man through the walls. His lethal aura from Makari, I cannot understate its utility, especially when you're going to pop Unbridled Carnage, because then it's a crit 5s. You're going to get sustained and lethal on 5s. I'm telling you, it's preposterous. So I could see that's actually how you get this to go off, because now you're having that Squig unit with the Naban Smasher Squig and a 3-man unit possibly getting Makari's ability. In that case, I can see it punching up, right? So let's look at some of his matchups. Oops, pass. I like to look at some of his matchups moving forward, because you can see right here, you got two 220s, which are perfect scores. Remember, guys, this is like ITC, so I believe it's like every 10 points, something like that. So if you ever see, they're gonna have close games for the most part. So this first matchup, Eric Westman, 3rd White/Black Templars. We have a captain with jump pack with Sigma Seal, Captain Grimaldis, High Marshal Hellbrick. So these guys right here, these 2 dudes are just super fighty, annoying, and oddly durable, because the guys, like I believe High Marshal Hellbrick, I'm having a brain fart on which one, but one of them brings like 2 sidekicks with them. It's hilarious. But they get stuck in for fighting. Just think of them as like our version of War Balls, how we stick them in units to fight harder and give us like more survivability. That's how that works. Then they have the Lieutenant with 10 men's bones. We have a Crusader Squad, big unit of Crusader Squad. Assault Intercessors with jump packs. I think these are cool. I appreciate the Space Marines have this now. We like our our Storm Boys. Then they have another small unit of that. Inceptor Squad, Primaris Brethren Squad, Scout. Then we have the 2 Whirlwinds for the indirect fire. And this is a quite meta list. One thing I will say, as an Ork player, you do appreciate fight on death when you go into something like that. One thing I will notice is they don't have an abundance of direct firepower, right? I mean, even Inceptors don't really hurt Orks too much. They just don't have enough volume to necessarily hurt too many of our units. Being able to fight in the jump pack Marines, they're not wounding great. They're really relying on their characters kind of carry that and the Sword Brethren. So it does take resource management as an Ork player to kind of deal with this kind of list. You will be happy to have someone like a Ghaz on that list to just chop through and utterly demolish some of these units. If they can get a charge off, and if they charge him, he's probably going to fight in death, hopefully, and do, because remember, the Mega Knobs -3 AP, you're re-rolling the wound roll in there, Ghaz getting +1 to hit, quite well. And then we have all these Squig units, right? So you look at these assault jump pack Terminators units, like I was just saying, for 170 points, assault pack, Marines going into a Squig break unit in the knob. Is that really going to do that well? I mean, even if they have their chaplain, he does give him +1 to wound. I'm aware of that, but we get -1 to wound. We have feel no pain. All of our punches back are damaged too. If we choose to fight on death, we probably punch back enough to murder that unit mostly, or at least devastate it to a certain degree. There's just so many things that in this matchup that they're really hoping on beating us. It is not an easy fight by any means, but they aren't playing the Ironstorm Spearhead, which is where they optimize combined arms, which is harder for us. Now we go into the second matchup. We have Eldari. Interesting enough, you get 20 points into this. So we have Archark, Wayleaper, Spirit Seer, and then Yarinkan, a Night Spinner. So right here, guys, just remember, whenever you're fighting the Night Spinner, when they have the Incarnate, they have a Night Spinner, take your Grots, put them in strategic reserve. Put something so that you don't allow them to shoot your unit, fully kill it, and then pop a young Karn in your backfield and start harassing you and causing you to go backwards. Because when you're going into Eldar, you just constantly want to move forward and not let them get behind you. That way you can just kind of run them over. We have Rangers, Swooping Hawks, Warwalkers. So Warwalkers, if you're not running Squigs, these guys can be kind of oddly durable. Meganobs kind of help solve them too, but just keep in mind they have like T9, I want to say, or 8 with built-in -1 to wound. They're kind of a little durable in their own way. Warp Spider, and then Wraithguard. Wraithguard with a cannon. So these are good anti-armor and such. I just think I don't know if they solved their answer for the orks, right? Orks kind of tend to just kind of walk this list. They're going to concede the board too much if they move the Warwalkers forward, which normally they're relying on the Warwalkers being able to be durable and withstand firepower and scout and da-da-da. You're just giving us kind of leap pad to do that. And the Incarn doesn't hold up to a bunch of Stibionic. Not surprised by that performance. Round number 3. Yeah, surprisingly, I'm not surprised by that because, Eldar sometimes get walked by orks on certain missions. Then again, we have the Necrons coming in on this round 3. A Canoptic. So we have the Chronomancer, Catan Night Shard, Void Dragon, Royal Warden. Oh, so they actually can fall back. There's the one list that can. Technomancer. We have the Immortals, Canoptic Reanimator. So I think this is kind of weakness. I don't know if 2 Swarm, 3 Swarms, Wraith, Locust Destroyers, and Tomb Blades. I think instead of bringing these Reanimators, having more bikes, even Immortals might have helped him out. But overall, we'll see. And then the Locust Destroyer and Tomb Blade. Again, we see an individual kind of destroyer. I think just for 30 points running around doing stuff. And then the Warden, so they can fall back in charge. So you remember how I just said, I said they couldn't. They can't unless they have that guy on their list. But this list just composes of like 3-4 units, right? It's just 3 Wraiths and then the Immortals doing everything. You're challenging orks to throttle when they have, like I said, on this list, you have gas for this one specific reason. This one big unit of knobs, another specific reason. You take the knobs, you're going to stand on the objective here, you big Wraith gets. We're going to run right at you on the wall. Put our 40 knob punches into you plus our 9 from the War Boss. We're going to use Unbridled Carnage. We're going to be within the Ghaz range to get lethal and Makari 5s. So you sustain 5s and crit 5, lethal 5s. Just pick up one of those Wraith units just straight outright. And they're going to challenge you to do that. And orks do have the damage potential. And that's where I think Ghaz is coming more and more into play. It's not, you're not taking him because he's running in with his damage 4 and killing all your problems. You're taking him because he just makes the wall puts it to that next level. That way you don't, on the wall. Because that's what hurts guys, right? It's our one game ability, and then if it goes off and you just don't get your results from it, it's just it throws us on the back foot. So doubling down on your wall potential is really what Ghaz does. People think of him as like, is he another Maz? He's not really. He's actually like a support kind of character, surprisingly. So his fourth matchup, we have Chaos Knights. So these are actually this could be a tough matchup too. So we have Warwalkers. This is his fourth matchup, right? Yeah, this is fourth matchup. We have War Dog with a Stalker, Brigand, and then all Carnivores. Let me guess, Nurglings, and then Silax. Silax can get up, I believe, and she fights Nurglings, so they like to have some units. I think if they're smart, they'll use Nurglings to kind of keep Squigs away early game. If not, they'll put them just right by there, and then you'll just run down their War Dogs and start just crumping them all over the place with their Squigs. You do have to worry about which ones you choose to activate, right? Sometimes you might be overzealous and think, I'm going to go take out the Brigands. But in reality, the Brigands don't really do any damage. Just take out the Carnivores when they do get into combat with you. Obviously, like I like to say, find death on those. But it's just prioritizing the fact that you're still trying to play the mission. They do have good OC, so keep them from being able to tag in. Keep the Brigands from being able to tag in. And force them to charge, and hopefully you can crump them there too, right? But sometimes that can be a hard mission. Don't get me wrong. Even though he did well with what he had, mind you, he has Ghaz and Maz, so he can just take and the War Boss with his knobs, so he can take down multiple of these dogs at the same time. But if you're not bringing Ghaz and Maz and knobs and Squigs, you can definitely get overwhelmed there. If you're just bringing like a bunch of transports, they can pop a bunch of them and then charge stuff inside or indirect them with their little crappy gun sometimes. And then last but certainly not least is the game he actually lost. It was until just like we just said, into Chaos Knights. So War Dog until he just went into it again. But with this one, he had 2 Huntsmans. I don't think that really necessarily made a difference. I think possibly having more Nurglings could have possibly made a difference. If you really want to know my guess, I don't know what happened, but look at the score. This is giving me the idea that he limited him by possibly going first and just keeping down that, this guy's kind of list. With this squig list, because he has all these big units of squigs. And then even a truck does need a little bit of space. Maz needs space. His Squiggoth needs space. Like, you need to move up to his war bikers need space. And this happened to me before, where someone took a ton of Nurglings, they put them right on the line, and they hoped to go first. They went first. They stood 1 inch away from my deployment line or whatever, and then they said, "Here we go. I'm just going to hold you here for 1 turn and warm up the field and play all my secondaries and my missions and stage and continue to play." So, and if they roll hot enough, I mean, they do have meltas and guns that can kill you. So don't get me wrong. Like I just said earlier, prior to that, you can lose that matchup. It's not like easy, and that's what happened with Juan Manuel. So, I mean, you drop that 2-up invul, you never know with Ghaz, right? Turn 1. But other way, great job getting 4th place, doing great for the orks. Whoa! So, and he lost to the person who ended up winning. Like I always say, you lose to the person, people who are doing well, and where you get in placement sometimes has to do with who you win against. I mean, it does have to do with who you go against too. So no shame there. Great job.